Point number 2, reckless love. I put it in quotation marks because in 2018 there was a song that hit Christian radio airwaves about reckless love. Here's a sampling. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fight till I'm found, leaves the 99, and I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Now, I wasn't necessarily privy to it right away, but it's accurate to say that there was a certain amount of people in Christendom that took issue with the fact that these three people, and if you have a problem with their lyrics, don't write me, you can write them. But there were people who were petitioning to make sure that this song was no longer played because the love of God is not reckless. That God knows exactly what God is doing. That God doesn't do anything that God doesn't know about. But then I thought about the Bible and not Webster. Let's say you have a God who loves everyone, and no matter what God does, they mess it up. Perfect garden setting, and they mess it up. And then you give them another chance. And then people are enslaved by other people, and then you take the people that were enslaved, and then you free them, and then it's about a hot weekend or a month later, they mess things up, and then you forgive them and give them a new land of their own, but they worship other gods, and you give them prophets. And they listen and don't listen, and follow and don't follow. And then you have an idea. You know what? I'm going to send myself. I will send my only begotten Son, and that will solve everything. And it worked for a while. Merry Christmas. But then all of a sudden he has ministry, and then he talked about how his world was different, and then he got in the grill, the people were powerful, and all of a sudden they decided to put him on a cross. But Jesus loved so much that he allowed that sacrifice to pay for people's sinfulness. That doesn't seem very commonsensical, does it? Does that seem like a 17-year-old kid driving a car? It does. I have one. Sometimes I see him, and he doesn't know that I'm seeing him in this place called Eden Prairie. Reckless means it doesn't make sense. But if Jesus was an actual shepherd with 100 sheep, and then you notice that one of those little buggers got away. You can look on that wall over there. You can see as it goes downstairs, we have a bunch of sheep over here, and then we have one that's straggling. Carl Nelson, a member here who's very gifted. I think he designed that. I also made a little comment that to me that actually said, oh, I included you in this little art project. And by the way, you're the one at the end. I'm like, okay, I've been that my entire life. But if you have 100 sheep and you decide to leave the 99 to go after the one that's reckless. Jesus would have been put on a PIP immediately. Performance improvement plan. His supervisor was called, come here. Who's the new guy? It's Jesus. I heard it that he left the 99 to go look for the one. Yeah, who's watching the sheep? I don't know, the sheep are watching the sheep. You know there's a wolf who could come in and, yeah? And he can't work here anymore because that's reckless. How long have you been married? Does your love make sense? Are there times when you think to yourself, I can't believe I married this bloke? How long is this going to go on? And then you realize you're in love. And it doesn't make sense. Do you have children? It's a good thing we love them. Let's be honest, it's a good thing we love them. One person at a job looks us askance, and we want to go to HR. And we want that person gone. But if we love our children, they can literally run us over, and we still love them. It's reckless. It doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense, and neither does faith. And to that one that's being looked for, I told you before, for a number of years, I had the privilege of serving on a task force that governed the council and the school board for Eden Prairie. We looked at the things that they were doing, and we would look at the metrics. We also tried to figure out the mission statement. If you see a van or you see some kind of school official thing where they can put it on there, inspiring each child every day. Every time I see that, I think about the 4 hours that I spent in a group with 20 other people deciding if it's going to be inspiring every child or each child. I'm not kidding. And you know my attention span. But you also know I love words. And words are important. Very, very bright people chosen by the superintendent, and we were trying to figure out each and every. And the grammarians in the room were sharpening their skills. I won't go into it too much because Wally, two of our kids' greatest English teachers ever, will correct me. But each is more individual. Every means all, but each means this person, this person, this person, this person. To that one sheep that was lost, to leave the 99 to go after the one means a lot to the one, but it also means a lot to the 99 because it's not about us. When you're found, when you have faith, when you believe, when you're in love, you want more of that goodness in other people. When something good happens to us as a child of God, we want to make sure that other people have that same feeling. In an even better story, the 99 say, well, let's span out and let's go look ourselves. But remember, this isn't about the 99. This is most of all about Jesus. And here's the thing about this Reckless song is that human beings, now especially, because we can talk about everything and we post it, people are upset about virtually everything. There's a revival. You heard about this, Asbury University in Kentucky. All of a sudden, some people started to pray. More people came. And then a revival broke out. And then more and more people were saying, well, this can't be good. What do you mean this can't be good? The reality of the situation is, as soon as you get a mass of people, something's going to go wrong. It's proven. We're going to mess it up. But I'd rather have people gather for a revival than do a whole host of other things. Yesterday, and this is a fresh part of my sermon, I went to Hopkins/Minnetonka. There's a little coffee shop I fancy over there. So I was going over there, and there's a little Baptist church. It wasn't a Lutheran church, of course. It was a Baptist church, and they had placards, and I thought, it's too cold for a car wash, so what's going on? And they had prayer revival inside. Come inside, we'll pray for you. And then I saw coffee and free mittens, and I thought I should go because our son is going to lose his mittens. If nothing else, go for the mittens. If you're good, I'll give you an icy and a pretzel. We all do it. If I think for one moment that they're not going to pray the way that I want them to pray, or they're going to do something that isn't right, then I think I'm right. Then I think the only thing that can be done is the way I do things. Sound familiar? The love of Jesus is reckless, purposeful, but really, considering our track record, we're not a good bet. But he loves us anyway. And sometimes we're the 99. And let's be honest, before I leave this point, sometimes you and me are the one. We may not be way over here. We may be here. But it leads to point number 3. We may judge or think we don't need it or don't need the shepherd.